In this video, we will discover this first node that we did see when you add a material here is the Principled BSDF. So what I will do, I will just unplug this little system that I made here, okay? And we will go through this node that is very important. So for all surfaces material, I would say that you can do almost everything with this one. And you will have to plug maybe some informations into it, but basically your main here node for all the nodes that we'll have with surface and not with volume, but with surface, it will be this one. You see that in the list here, you have a few other BSDF nodes, okay? Basically, there's nodes, they did all been mixed together to make this one, the Principled BSDF, that has all the informations into it. You can see that here into the shader, I could add, for example, here a glossy. And a glossy is basically something that is metallic. So if I plug it here, you can see that Suzanne will become metallic here. But here into this node, you have a metallic slider, so you can make it metallic if needed, and you have exactly the same result. So basically, it was before a system when you that you mixed. Yeah, you were mixing. There's materials. There's little shaders here with mix shader and have the same result than the principled shader, but they did the principled here. That works very well, and that is very more effective. So let's go through the settings here, the first settings that are already very important. The first one is the base color. If you click on it, you have the color wheel here that you can find some interesting colors. You can change here by sliders. You have the hue saturation value, or you can come into the RGB if needed. The hue saturation here, so the hue, if you have a value into the saturation, like for example the blue, it will turn around the wheel, something like that, okay? If you use the saturation, it will go in the center, okay? If you go with the value, it will go down with the black and white value here, so goes with something with more dark or less dark here. Okay, and you have the alpha. The alpha is not used here because we don't have any transparency for now. Okay, so now we have a basic, let's say, plastic blue material. You can change this with the metallic. So the metallic will have some metallic reflections into it. So you can see that if I increase this and maybe put this back into a white color, you can see that now I have some metallic reflections. I can manage these reflections with the metallic or not, because here we have some reflections as well. We can see that we have some reflex into Suzanne. You can manage the reflections if they are metallic or not with the roughness here. The roughness will give you the possibility to have something really shiny and polished here. If I decrease that, so I will have something with with a coat on it, okay? And here I will increase that to have something with more roughness, and so a matte material here. Okay, so here and there. I can remove the reflections with the IOR value. For example, if I put the IOR at 1, I would have almost no reflections into Suzanne here, okay? So IOR is something that I will cover more and that you will more understand with the transmission value after. I will come back into it. So here we have the metallic roughness, IOR, and alpha. Alpha will create some transparency on it. Already with the 4 first, I will not talk about the alpha now, but with the 4 first here, you will have the possibility to make a lot of shaders, of basic shaders. All the metallic ones will be possible. Like you increase the metallic, here you have some red metallic material, It could be red paint, metallic material, for example. Here, if I decrease the roughness, I will have something that will look really more metallic. And if I change just the color here, I will have already a gold. Very simple. Or just a silver, just coming here. Okay? Or maybe copper, something more like here. Okay? More reddish. And if you want to go with something that is more with paint, metallic materials, you can go there as well. It will work pretty well. So you can see that you have already a lot of possibilities just with the metallic and the color. But without the metallic as well, you have basically all the painted and plastic material that you will find here. Let's take a black piano, for example, here. If I decrease the roughness, okay, I have something that looks a piano. Black piano material, so a coated, very shiny material like that. You can change all the colors, it will work as well, okay? So for creating all kind of painted with a coat on it. And here you have the possibility to change the roughness to go with something more like this, okay? So with some reflections, but a little blurry, and increase the roughness until having something really matte like that. Okay, so you have already a lot of possibilities. Look around you if you don't have any specific colors under the shaders, under what you see. It's not a shader in the reality, but for example, I just watch my mouse here. It's gray and with a lot of roughness into it, so it will be a material that looks a little like this. Okay, something around there, I would say, maybe with less eye aware, something like that maybe. Okay, so yeah, you will have already a lot of possibilities just with the 4 first options. Now I would like to continue here, and here we have the diffuse and the roughness, so we'll not change that much this. We will go into the subsurface. So the subsurface, I will take just a white color, simple white color, to show you how it works. So no saturation, big value here, and you have something that works like that. If I increase the weight of that, you can see that here in the ears you have some kind of transparency. So this appears in all wax materials to make some candles, for example, or sometimes in characters, you know, behind the ears, exactly like Susan actually. And if you put a light behind, you will see more what I talk about. Maybe what I can do is to show you with this. Okay, I come back here. Maybe I did disable the lights here somewhere. It should be here. Yeah, if I enable extras, I will come back with the lights. And here, so if I just put it really behind Suzanne, maybe scale it down, okay, and put it behind Suzanne like this, in front view, just behind it, okay, so something like that. You will see that the result will change here, and you will really see more what's happening with this shader here, okay, so you can see more the result into the ears. So for example, here for a material with a skin material, something like that, it can be interesting to add some of this option here, the subsurface. So you have different options, you can play with them to see how it will make appear the subsurface here. So this one works well for the skin, for example, maybe. You have some radius options here with axis that will make you appear different colors into the shader. Like you can see here, it will be more or less. So yeah, it can be interesting as well. You have the scale, the eye aware, and anisotropy. So all of this, you don't change it that much usually. But yeah, at least the subsurface scattering can be something that you enable or not with the weight of it here just, okay? So you can see the result here. I will put back the lamp behind, like that, scale it up. And now I come back with the other settings that we have here. So we did see the subsurface, we didn't see that well the specular. We can increase or decrease the level, the IOR level. You can see that here you have the IOR by default that will let you manage here, let's say, a way of use the roughness here. So if I decrease the roughness and manage the IOR, you will see that it will change the reflections. If you put it at 1, it will be almost nothing. But if you decrease the IOR level, you will see that it will remove everything here. So it's kind of same settings, but yeah, just in another slider. And here you have the anisotropic. So the anisotropic can be interesting for creating brushed materials, like for example, brushed metallic. So let's go into a metallic shader with maybe not that much saturation and increase a little the roughness to can see really the result. So here, if I increase the anisotropic, and you can see that it did already change. And if I change the anisotropic rotation, you can see that I will have this kind of reflections that appears only in brushed materials. Usually it works very well with this kind of objects here. Like for example, you want to create cooking stuff or things like that. I come back with monkey here, okay? So here, and you can see the result with the rotation. So yeah, it works very well on that. So you can really have nice stuff with this, okay? So you can change all of that. You see here the results, and with the rotation you will have this kind of effect. Works very well for this kind of object. Okay, I go here, I come back with the red here, and now I have the next one is the transmission. So the transmission will not work when you have metallic into it. If I increase that, you can see that it will not appear. But if I decrease metallic and increase the weight of transmission here, I will have something totally glossy here. So we have a gloss now. I will just remove these extras like this. We see more what's happening here. So what we have now, we have basically transparent Suzanne, and we can change still the color, for example, to make all the glasses that you want, or maybe some gems or things like that will work as well. You can change here the metallic, you can change, sorry, the roughness to have something more like this, or more with a polished here material, unpolished material like this, okay? And here you have the possibility to change the weight, so transparent a little or not. Here the IOR is important in that area, because the IOR will change the way of the lights goes through the material, and it depends the material itself. So for example, if you want to create some water, I would just go into here a basic material list here. Okay, so if you search for IOR list, index of refraction list, you will find some here, some stuff here. I'm into the website that works well here, and you will find all the IOR values for metal, but for transparent shaders here, if needed as well. This one is in Japanese, but you see here all the results for here. For alcohol you have 1.32, for example. If you go and search for water, for example, I guess it will come in the list. Okay, water depends the temperature. Here you will have 1.3. And for the glass material, so let's go into G to search some glass. Here, the glass should be around 1.45, I guess. 1.48 here. So you see that you have basically some interesting stuff that goes really into the reality. So you can search for real material. Depends if you want something like diamond here. Diamond, it's very high, 2.4. It's the highest one. So if you want to create a diamond here, you just make it like this with no saturation at all, and you will increase here the IOR to 2.4 something, and you will have something that looks more like a diamond. And you can make exactly the same kind of system with all the crystals and all the metallic stuff. So it's important to play with the IOR values if you want to have something that looks realistic and that the eye knows it. So when you want, just remember at least the two more important is the glass and the water. So the glass, it's 1.48 or 1.5, and the water, it's near 1.33 here. Okay, so we have the possibility to do all the transparent materials as well. Okay, we have the coat here. The coat, basically, it's a coat that you can add into the surface. So let's come back with something not transparent. We move the transmission weight, and maybe we'll put a dark material like this with some roughness into it. Okay, without any here, and I will just remove the specular anisotropic. I just want something classic with an IOR classic as well, 1.5 here. It will be enough. Good. So we have a basic material like that, and we would like to keep this reflection like this, but add a coat on it. And that's why we have here this slider. If you increase that, you will have a coat on the surface. So you will have two reflections in that case. So in that case here, it will be a coat that is very shiny like that. You can change the roughness of the second coat as well. So it works very well with metallic materials as well to make some painted metallic paint. So for example, for a car shader or something like that, let's go to red value, red here, a dark red, let's say, and we will go to something metallic. I will decrease the coat here just to see without the coat how it looks. Okay, so the metallic will look somewhere like this. Okay, you will have already something good, but you want to add a coat into it, and this one will really make you something that looks very good for a car shader, for example. So already very interesting to work with this stuff as well. You have roughness and IOR, exactly the same values that you have here, but only works for the coat. And you have a tint of the coat if you want it. Like for example, this coat, I increase it. If I add a tint into it, you can see that the reflection of the coat will be affected by a color. You have the sheen material, so as it says here, works well with non-metallic material for sure. Increase the roughness, increase the weight of it. Okay, and usually without IOL. And I will play with the tint as well. So it's another way here to add some nice reflections into it. But you can use it in another way. It's good in that case to not use the coat because it will change a little the things. And so now you can see more what's happening. You add a new color into the side of the object, into the reflections here. So you can increase and decrease that, so to have more. It works well, for example, to add here on very dark materials. You can have this kind of effect here. You can see that, okay? So in that case, you can increase or decrease the roughness, and it will appear only on the side of the material. So can be a very good way to make some more complex shaders. Like for example here, if I have a tint that is different, like for example here I have a blue and I would like something like that. So it's not very realistic, but can make very interesting stuff and works well with metallic as well, as you can see here. So now you have a really interesting shader with a coat. Okay, you can see that you have multiple colors appears into this nice car shader, for example, with the sheen and the tint that you can play with like that. Okay, so I decrease the weight of the coat and the sheen like this. It will not appear in the render, and I will go to the emission section here. So let's keep the base color, and it will anyway, it will not change anything on that. And I will remove hide all the lights. So I can go here and show you how it works. And like this, we can hide all the lights. And like this, we don't have any light into the scene. We can make the shader create some light. So this object will create some light in the scene. So let's increase that at 2, and you can see that now we have a light that goes from Suzanne. So very interesting one. So now if I move Suzanne, you can see that it works very well. It works very well and very in a realistic way for the render engine cycles. But if you go into Eevee, you can see that here it will not appear into the shader, into the reflections here. You will not have the light that really lights all the objects by default. Maybe by adding the ray tracing, it will add a little more realism. But honestly, with cycles, you will have really nice result with that. Okay, so you can increase the strength. If you put it at 20, it will really light the scene. You can change the color of the light if needed. Okay, so can make really interesting stuff as well with the strength and the color here of the emission. I come back with something at 0, and you have a thin film here. It's a little same way of the coat. Usually we don't use it that much, that one, so I will not cover it. For this, you will have already a lot of possibilities to create some shaders just with this here Principled shader. As you can see, you can make really interesting stuff like that. So we will go deeper into it. We will add some textures, and what you have to understand with all the gray here dots, like for example for the roughness, you can see that here if I come back with no saturated here, something like that, so I increase or decrease the roughness, it will create this kind of behavior like this. Okay, but if I add the information that comes here in black and white from the color ramp, remember we had this noise texture, and after with Ctrl+Shift+click the informations of the color ramp that are in black and white. So if I plug those informations that are black and white into this value of the color of the roughness here, you can see the result now, and the result shows that what is white will be high at 1, and what is black will be at 0. So here we have the possibility to play already with only the roughness, or maybe we would like to play with the metallic. So here only some parts will be metallic and the other parts are not metallic. Okay, so it can be very interesting to plug some informations into these values to add more realism to your needs. But what we will see first is how to use multiple shaders into one object, and it will be a very quick video, but very important to understand how to manage your shaders.